Let's do this. Let's do the dang thing. We're getting into Exodus today. We're going to start Exodus. It's going to be fun. Why is my camera crooked? Is my camera crooked? No. That line is straight. Looks crooked. Am I straight? Am I straight? Yes, I'm straight. We're going to get into Exodus today. I'm very excited. I like Exodus. This is a very good book. A very good book. I like it. We're going to get into Exodus. I don't know how long we're going to go. It's 10:45. Our first chapter is going to be pretty much the lineage from Joseph until Moses. And then we get straight into the early life of Moses. And I think we're going to read up until the beginning of the plagues. I don't know. If we want to get all the way through the plagues of Egypt, we have to go to chapter 13. I think we can do that. We have to get to chapter 14. We have to read 13 chapters in order to do the early life of Moses and all the plagues. So we're going to start and get right into it. Knock out this first chapter. A little bit of begats here. And then we'll get into the Moses in Egypt, the early life of Moses, and then the plagues. All right, so let's just get right into it. Now these, chapter 1, now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Morning, Eva. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Jacob was in Egypt already, or Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty. And the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. So new Pharaoh, new king. This guy doesn't know about Joseph, and he has no respect for the people of Israel. And remember, Egypt owns all the land because of the famine under Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service of the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Purah. So this is not really begats. This is actually like a precursor to Moses being born. This is actually story time. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but served the men children alive, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? So he told the midwives, kill all the boy babies, kill them all. And the midwives said they loved God, they feared God. And they said, we can't kill these Israelite babies. That's not a good idea. God is not going to play with us. And they were right. So Pharaoh brings the midwives. He says, "Why didn't you kill him? I told you to kill him." And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, "Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive." Chapter 2. So Pharaoh wants all the Israelite boys dead. You love the Bible studies? Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you like it, Eva. Chapter 2. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river brink, by the river's brink. The flags by the river's brink is like the reeds. She put them in the reeds by the side of the river, instead of in a little canoe, a little Moses canoe, a little baby canoe, instead of just tossing them into the river. They're supposed to just chuck the babies into the river, the boys. But she made a little boat, a little raft for baby Moses, and she put him in the reeds. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, and she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. The maid went and called the child's mother. How did they? Well, I'm thinking that means that they went looking for the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. Pharaoh's daughter said, Called the child's mother. How do they know who the child's mother is? That's odd. Shall I go to call thee a nurse for the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. But that's not Moses' mom, right? Or is it? How did they find the child's mother? That's interesting. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son, and she called his name Moses. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water. Hold on, I want to look something up. Exodus 2:9. Morning, Seesaw. You doing ad reads for coffee now? Did Moses' mom nurse him? Exodus 2:9. Did Moses' mother nurse? Yes, Jochebed, Moses' mother, nursed him until he was weaned. Okay. I didn't know that. Or I forgot that. I forgot more than I knew. I've forgotten more than I know about the Bible. Just so you know. Jochebed, until he was old enough to eat. After weaning, Moses was turned to the princess and raised in the royal family. Interesting. So that's even like more cruel. It's like, we command you to kill all your boy babies. So the maidservant saves Moses. Then somehow they find his mother, Jochebed, and they say, nurse him, but we're going to take him away when he's old enough, and I'm going to keep him. The princess says that. Turns out it sounds messed up, but I guess it turns out to be a blessing for everyone. Jochebed's name means Jehovah is glory. She was a daughter of Levi and married Amam, who is also from the tribe of Levi. Huh. Okay. And the Pharaoh's daughter, said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages, blah, blah, blah. I already read that. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son, and she called his name Moses, and she said, because I drew him out of the water. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. Uh-oh. Moses is about to get angry. And he looked this way and that way, checked over his shoulders, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? The Hebrews strove together, and he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore thou smitest thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. So somehow they found out Moses did it. And these guys are walking around where the body's at. And they're like, hey, surely you killed this guy. Who made you king over us? You're not a king. You're an Israelite. Now when and Moses gets worried. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him that he may eat bread. So Moses is at a well resting after he ran away from Pharaoh. And the ladies come to gather the water like they do every morning. And Moses helps them to get water. So they end up returning home earlier than they normally do. And their dad is like, how'd you get back so quick? And they're like, this Egyptian guy was there and he helped us out. And the dad's like, well, tell him to come in and get some food. Hook him up. All right. And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter. He gave him his daughter. Dude, it used to be so easy back then. You just go sit by a well. First lady you see, fill her water bucket up for her. Maybe you got to work for her dad for like 7 years. And then you get a wife. She's going to be making the babies. The woman going to have the babies. And she bare him a son, and he called his name. And they always have boys first. Real men make boys first. And it came to pass. Did I skip a verse? Oh, yeah. Okay, she called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass in process of time. See, I totally forgot that Moses had a son. And it came to pass, doesn't I don't want to spoil, and I might be wrong about that. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel, and guess what? His son the next king ain't no better. The next king's even worse. The king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. So they're all slaves now. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. Chapter 3. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him. The angel of the Lord, not Jesus. I don't know where people are getting this idea that the burning bush is Jesus. It specifically says the angel of the Lord. People are taking this. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all that, but yeah, it says the angel of the Lord. It's like we've just done away with all the angels nowadays. I don't get it. Unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. We were just talking about this the other night. Somebody said Jesus was the burning bush. I've heard that twice in the past couple weeks. And I'm like, where are you getting this idea from? Like, I respect the idea of the Trinity and all that, but y'all are taking it too far. You're completely wiping angels out of the Old Testament. They say every time that the Lord speaks, every time that the angel of the Lord is sent, every time the angels are sent, they're saying that they're all Jesus now. This is like a new thing that I've never heard before. Anyway, and Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And also another commentary, atheists or Joe Rogan types, faux Rogans, claim that this is Moses tripping on ayahuasca. Nonsense. It's like, so wait till we get to Leviticus and Deuteronomy. I'm going to give you all the arguments to destroy atheists because they don't know the Bible. They always bring up the Bible. They always bring the Bible into their arguments against Christians. They have no idea what they're talking about. And the problem is a lot of Christians don't know the proper rebuttals, or it's like soft Christianity where they soften the Bible because they think it's biting a bullet to actually give the correct answer. People make up the dumbest. I know, Dean. So when we get into Leviticus and Deuteronomy and also the end of Exodus, Exodus 21, that's going to be a fun one. Y'all are going to get some answers from me. We're going to do some learning, and I'm going to say some things that you're not going to hear other Christians say. But I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to read it straight from here. Rules for slavery. Yeah. That's like the whole chapter of Exodus 21. The soft Christians will dodge it. We're not going to do that. Okay. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that, he turned aside to see. God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, here am I. Now, you might say, why does it say God is calling him when it just said the angel of God? For the same reason that in Isaiah 7, it says, God tells Isaiah to go and speak to the man. And then when Isaiah goes and speaks to the man, it says God is speaking to the man. To understand this, Isaiah is called Yahweh in Isaiah 7:10, I believe. The reason is because it's the same reason when you say, if a bunch of soldiers are over fighting a war somewhere and pilots are dropping bombs, you don't say the pilot John Smith dropped a bomb on Iraq. You say the U.S. military dropped a bomb on Iraq. It's the authority. God is speaking through Isaiah. So Isaiah is called Yahweh. God is speaking through the angel of the Lord in the bush. So it's called God. Jesus said, I and the Father are one. God's understanding is above our understanding, including Jesse. Yeah, you're a genius, Tar Baby Yoda. That's relevant to what we're talking about. God called unto them out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, here am I. And he said, draw not nigh hither. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppress them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto God, Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. Ego ami. Ego ami, ego ami. I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. Ego ami. Ego is where we get the word ego from. Ego just means self. It's I forget what the I means. It's self present. It's present in self or something like that. Hold on one second. I believe it's spelled like this. Yep, E-I-M-I. I exist. Yeah, I am present, or I am. It means what it sounds like it means, but the ego is self, ego. That's where we get the term ego from. Ego just means self, and am is I me, which means I am or I exist. I am here. I'm present. I am that I am. And he said, and I believe that's where let me see something real quick. Not sure if that's the first time the Tetragrammaton is used. Yeah. Well, wait. The YHWH. Where's the first time the Tetragrammaton is used? I think every time God is mentioned, it's actually the Tetragrammaton. But this may be the first real use of it. First Tetragrammaton use in the Bible. I'm not sure about this, so I'm checking. But I'm pretty sure this is the first time. Yeah. This is the first time that the Tetragrammaton is used. So really, I am that I am, ego I me, is a later Greek translation. In Hebrew, it was actually YHWH, which is the Tetragrammaton. It had no meaning at the time. They didn't. Basically, God's name was so holy, was so powerful that it was a word that was not a Hebrew word. It wasn't any language's word. It was just letters. It was basically like if anybody saw it, they had no idea what it really meant. So it became a sacred word that represents the name of God. It's not like, if God had a birth certificate, it would say YHWH. And a lot of people have gotten this way wrong throughout history. They're like, God's name is Jehovah Jireh or Yahweh. Like Yahweh is just the Tetragrammaton, the YHWH, with vowels added to it to make it a word that we can say. But we really shouldn't even be saying it because it was such a sacred word that had no meaning. that when they wrote it, they would take a set. They'd be writing the scripture. They'd take out a separate quill and they'd write YHWH in Hebrew, and then they would throw that quill away, or they would. I don't know if they would like do something sacred with it, put it somewhere special, but like every time they wrote it, they would use a different quill, and they wouldn't say it because they couldn't say it because it wasn't a word. And now we've turned it into Yahweh, and then YHWH becomes JHVH, which is Jehovah, which is just another way of saying the Tetragrammaton. And yeah, so when God says, I am that I am, ego ami is Greek. English, it's I am that I am. But in Hebrew, he didn't say any of that. He said his name, and it was an incomprehensible word. It was a word nobody could understand, which points towards we can't understand God's ontology. You can't comprehend God's ontology. But so many people, Popeye said, I am what I am. It had me right. Yeah, you're right. It had a meaning, but we didn't understand it, and we still don't to this day. But people claim they do. And he said, "Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you." See that in English, that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. So, I am, ego eimi. I am is English. Ego eimi is Greek. The Hebrew, this is written in Hebrew, is the Tetragrammaton YHWH, which would make more sense because I am or ego eimi doesn't make sense here. So read it like this. Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I exist hath sent me unto you. That doesn't make any sense. So it's really, yeah, I already read that. It's really, I am has sent me unto you. But now we've turned I am into, we've turned ego eimi, we've turned the Tetragrammaton into ego eimi, into Yahweh, into Jehovah, and and people can't wrap their minds around why this doesn't make sense because I don't know. Nobody really like studies; they just repeat what they hear. And God said, moreover, unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together. And actually, I want to look at something real quick. Name. Because I'm betting. Let me see this real quick. I don't want to say that and be wrong. So I'm just going to keep that thought in my head and look this up real quick. Name. Genesis, Exodus. What are we in? Exodus 3:15. What's the name? 3:15. Exodus 3:15. 8034. Hold on one second. 8034. I'm looking up name in the Hebrew here. (8082). Un momento. All right. Oh, this is a long one. Where's it at? 8081, 8085, 8082. Shamain. Greasy, gross, fat, placious. Am I in the right spot? This cannot be right. No, that's not right. I'm in the wrong spot. I got to go back. Hold on. I got the wrong number. Didn't I say 8082? I think I said 8082. Dang it. I turned right to it the first time, and now I got to find it again. Okay. Exodus 3. Oh, it's 8034. 8034. Right? Exodus 3:15, 8034. Why did I think 8082? 8034. This is why you should keep your hand in the word, the spot of the word, while you flip to the number. 8034. Well, it was on the same page. 8034. Shem, rather from, through idea and conspicuous position, an appellation, a marker, memorial, renown, fame, famous, named, name, famous, infamous, report. Shem means name as in reputation. Names were not always indicative of the persons who bore them, such as dog and bee. Perhaps some names indicated a single decisive characteristic of their bearer. In other cases, a name recalls an event or mood which the parents experienced or shortly before the child's birth. Other names make a statement about an individual. The sense of a name as an identification appears in Genesis 2:18, and out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. The names of which God revealed himself do reflect something of his person at work. And this is exactly what I thought. This is what I was thinking, and I wanted to check before I said it. The word name here, Shem, it doesn't mean that God is saying, it's not like when somebody asks me, what is your name? And I say Josh. The use of the word Shem here in the Hebrew, when he says my name, this is my name forever. He's like, it's more like an it's his representation of his personhood throughout all of history. It's not like his first name. And I knew this is what, I'm so glad I have this concordance, because I was always like, I don't think that means name like we think it means name. Sure enough, it doesn't. It's not the same. It's not what we think name means. It's Shem. It's an identifier. It's an indication of his personhood. It's not like, oh man. Anyway, glad we cleared that up. This is why you go to the Hebrew or the Greek. Okay. This is my name forever. Like, this is my promise. This is my being. This is my essence. Not this is my first name. This is what you call me. Like, hey Yahweh, what's up? No, that's not what it means. Oh man. And besides, you don't call your father by his first name. We don't know God's first name. God doesn't even have a first name. What are we talking about, Christians? Okay. Go and gather the elders of Israel together and say unto them, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to thy voice, and thou shalt come, thou and the elders of Israel, unto the king of Egypt. And ye shall say unto him, the Lord God of the Hebrews hath met with us, And now let us go, we beseech thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that, he will let you go. Oh, huh. So God knew what was going to happen before it happened. Shocker. That's what omniscient means. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and it shall come to pass that when ye go, ye shall not go empty. But every woman shall borrow to her neighbor, and of her that sojourneth in her house jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And ye shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptians. Let's go. Let's go. And Moses, chapter 4. And Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, the Lord hath not appeared unto thee. Oh, don't worry, Moses. The Lord's going to appear unto them. The Lord's going to make himself known quite well. And the Lord said unto him, what is that in thine hand? And he said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand, and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. That they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. So I don't know if that means like he like put his hand into his chest, or if he just like put his hand on his chest. But when he took his hand away, or maybe just under his clothes, like something like this. And then when he took his hand out, it was covered in leprosy. It was white. It was rotting flesh. And then he put it back, and when he brought it out again, it was there again. And this is why, this stuff right here is why atheists say that Moses was tripping on ayahuasca. It's nonsense. They don't believe in miracles. But give an atheist one miracle, creation, and then they can explain the whole universe. Right? And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also the two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river, and pour it upon the dry land. And the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto my servant, but I am slow of speech and of slow tongue. Moses is like, God, I'm not a politician or a speaker. I'm not an orator. I've been living in the desert. I murdered a guy, and I live in the desert with my wife and my son, who I met by the well. I'm not a smart man. I'm slow. I can barely even talk right. God says, don't worry, Moses, I got you. And the Lord said unto him, who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb or deaf or the seeing or the blind? Have not I the Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. And he said, O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he come forth to meet thee. And when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth. And I will be with thy mouth, and with his hand, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people. And he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth, and thou shalt be to him instead of God. So Abraham or Moses is going to be God's representative, and Aaron is going to be the speaker for Moses, therefore making Aaron the speaker for God through what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, the chain of authority. God through Moses, through Aaron, will speak. All right. And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people, and he shall be, even he shall, I already read that. And thou shalt take this rod in thine hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. And Moses went and returned to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said unto him, Let me go, I pray thee, and return unto my brethren which are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, Go in peace. And the Lord said unto Moses in Midian, Go, return into Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought thy life. And Moses took his wife and his sons, and set them upon an ass, and he returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of God in his hand. And the Lord said unto Moses, When thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thine hand. But I will harden his heart, and he shall not let the people go. So God's already telling him, hey, just so you know, Pharaoh's not going to listen to you. You said he's not going to listen to you. You're right, Moses. He's not going to listen to you. God hardens his heart so that he won't listen. That's interesting. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, Let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. And it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. Hold on a second. Thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, Let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. So he tells the Pharaoh, Israel, meaning the people of Israel, which are representing Jacob, who was called Israel. So he's saying, Israel is my son, Jacob is my son, but the people of Israel, basically, that's what he's saying. He's saying when he says, let my son go or I'm going to kill your son. So Israel now represents all the people of Israel, but still the people of Jacob and Abraham and Isaac. And it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, Surely a bloody husband art thou to me. So he let him go. Then she said, A bloody husband thou art because of the circumcision. Hold on. Okay, this is... and 24 through 26. Exodus 4, 24 through 26. I need a little clarification here. Okay. Okay, so I was confused because it said he appeared to him. See, sometimes the hims and the he's, the way it's written with the Hebrew, it's hard to tell which he and which him it's referring to, even with the context. Because it says, And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, Let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. And it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. So I was like, who's him? Is him Pharaoh? So him there is Moses. So Moses and Zipporah go into the inn, and then the Lord, being the angel of the Lord, again comes and threatens to kill Moses because his son was not circumcised yet. And it was a command that the Israelites circumcise their sons. Met him and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet. And see, notice there, cast it at his feet. His is lowercase. So she's throwing the circumcised foreskin at Moses' feet. God had called Moses from the land of Midian to return to Egypt and led the Hebrew people out of slavery. After some initial objections, Moses accepted the will of God, packed up his family, and started his journey west. Then something strange and troubling happened at a lodging place on the way. The Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. This disturbing incident in which God was going to kill Moses is not fully explained in the text, but we can piece together an idea of what occurred. Here are the clues. God was seeking to kill Moses. Zipporah's Moses' wife took a flint knife and circumcised their son. After the operation, Zipporah touched Moses' feet with the foreskin. That's a softened down. That's a softened down translation. She threw it at it. She threw it on the ground at his feet. Zipporah called her husband a bridegroom of blood, referring to the circumcision. At that point, the Lord let him alone. The fact that circumcision of Moses' son called sin failed. Okay, so Moses' sin here was that he had failed to circumcise his son. This would be more natural if Moses was bedridden. Okay, they're implying that since Moses did not perform the circumcision, Zipporah did, that Moses could have possibly been bedridden with some sort of illness. So that was God's way of killing him, as Moses is sick. And the Lord shows up, says, basically tells him, you've sinned against me because you haven't circumcised your son. So Zipporah circumcises it, throws the foreskin at his feet, cast it at his feet, and said, surely a bloody husband art thou to me. So he let him go, and she said, a bloody husband thou art because of the circumcision. And the Lord said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. And he went and met him in the mount of God and kissed him. So, and meet Moses, and he went and met him in the mount of God and kissed him. So that's Aaron meeting Moses. And Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord who had sent him and all the signs which he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. And Aaron spake all the words which the Lord had spoken unto Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people. And the people believed. And when they heard that the Lord had visited the children of Israel, and that he had looked upon their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worshipped. Chapter 5. And afterward, Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord God of Israel. We're going to stop when we get to the first plague, because I need to get to bed a little earlier today. We can't go to 12:30, so we'll go to about 12. Because the plagues start in chapter 9, I believe. The plagues start in chapter 8. So we'll just read to chapter 8 today. We're on chapter 5 now. And afterwards Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go. And they said, the God of the Hebrews hath met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto the Lord our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword. And the king of Egypt said unto them, wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their works. Get you unto your burdens. And Pharaoh said, Behold, the people of the land now are many, and ye make them rest from their burdens. He's saying, get to work. Who are you guys to tell me to let these people go? Get to work. They got work to do. And Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. And the tale of the bricks from which they did make heretofore, ye shall lay upon them. Ye shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle. Therefore they cry, saying, Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Let their more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain words. And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, Thus said Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Go ye, get you straw where ye can find it, yet not aught of your work shall be diminished. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble instead of straw. And the taskmasters hasted them, saying, Fulfill your works, your daily tasks, as when there was straw. So the slave masters, the taskmasters in Prince of Egypt or something, we picture they're getting whipped and they're saying, go to work. There's no straw left. So they're making them gather stubble from the ground as if it were straw. And the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten and demanded, Wherefore have ye not fulfilled your task in making brick both yesterday and today as heretofore? So there's no straw to make the bricks. There's no, they don't even have resources anymore, but they're getting beaten for not producing. Then the officers of the children of Israel came and cried unto Pharaoh, saying, Wherefore dealest thou thus with thy servants? There is no straw given unto thy servants. And they say to us, Make brick, and behold, thy servants are beaten, but the fault is in thine own people. But he said, Ye are idle, ye are idle. Therefore ye say, Let us go and do sacrifices to the Lord. Go therefore now and work. For there shall no straw be given you, yet shall ye deliver the tale of bricks. Tale of bricks. There's nothing, they can't even produce the bricks, but he's saying, get out there and get to work and bring me the bricks. Tale of bricks. I'm guessing that that's like a pallet of bricks, like tale of bricks meaning. Phrase tale of bricks is a reference to the number of bricks that the Israelites were required to make in the Bible. It literally means a measure of the bricks. So yeah, it's like if he wants each person to stack up a pallet of bricks each day, that's what he's telling him. Each of you need to bring me this many bricks each day. And they don't have the resources to make the bricks, so they get beaten. And they're just saying, we just want to go for 3 days to sacrifice to God. And he's saying, no, get to work. They're like, there's no straw. What are we supposed to do? He says, it doesn't matter. Get it done. So Pharaoh's a real jerk. He said, Ye are idle, ye are idle. Therefore ye say, Let us go and do sacrifice to the Lord. Go therefore now and work. For there shall no straw be given to you, yet ye shall deliver the tale of bricks. And the officers of the children of Israel did see that they were in evil case. After it was said, Ye shall not minish aught from your bricks of your daily task. And they're told, you better bring what I told you to bring, or you're going to get beaten. And they're like, but we can't. What are we supposed to do? We can't do it. And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the way as they came forth from Pharaoh. And they said unto them, The Lord look upon you and judge, because ye have made our savor to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to slay us. And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, Lord, wherefore hast thou so evil entreated this people? Why is it that thou hast sent me? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he hath done evil to this people. Neither hast thou delivered thy people at all. Moses is saying, you sent me to talk to Pharaoh to save the people. Ever since I came here, they're treating the people worse. Because when Moses came and said, hey, God says, let my people go into the mountains for 3 days to sacrifice, into the wilderness for 3 days to sacrifice. Pharaoh said, no. In fact, I'm going to make them work harder. And if they don't complete their job, I'm going to beat them. And Moses is like, God, what are you doing to us? You said you were going to deliver us. And ever since I got here, it's just gotten worse. What's going on, God? And we know Moses, he wavers in his faith. He's not like Abraham, who unquestionably, unfalteringly does what God commands. Moses wavers, and that's why Moses never makes it into the Holy Land. Spoiler alert. Chapter 6, Then the Lord said unto Moses, Now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh. For with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. And God spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am the Lord. And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of God Almighty, but by my name Jehovah was I not known to them. Again, that's just English translating the Tetragrammaton. And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgments. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God, and ye shall know that I am the Lord your God, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will bring you in unto the land concerning the which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it to you for a heritage. I am the Lord. And Moses spake so unto the children of Israel, but they hearkened not unto Moses for anguish of spirit and for cruel bondage, cruel slavery. They're slaves. So they're not even listening to Moses anymore. They're like, Moses, ever since you got here, things have gotten worse. We're kind of getting tired of this. Like, where's this God at? You know, he showed us some miracles. Where's he at? Where is he? Why isn't he saving us? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Go in, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he let the children of Israel go out of his land. And Moses spake before the Lord, saying, Behold, the children of Israel have not hearkened unto me. They're not listening to me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me? How then shall Pharaoh hear me, who am of uncircumcised lips? And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, and gave them a charge unto the children of Israel, and unto Pharaoh king of Egypt, to bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. These be the heads of their fathers' houses, the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, Hanok and Palu, Hezron and Charmi. These be the families of Reuben. And the sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin, and Ohad, and Jachin, and Zohar, and Shaul, the sons of a Canaanitish woman. These are the families of Simeon. And these are the names of the sons of Levi according to their generations, Gershon, and Kohath, and Merari. And the years of the life of Levi were 137 years. And the sons of Gershon, Libni, and Shimi, according to their families. And the sons of Kohath, Amram, and Izhar, and Hebron, and Uzziel. And the years of the life of Kohath were 133 years. And the sons of Merari, Mahali, and Mushi, these are the families of Levi according to their generations. And Amram took him Jochebed, his father's sister, to wife. And she bare him Aaron and Moses. And the years of the life of Amram were 137 years. And the sons of Izhar, Korah, and Nepheg, and Zikri, and the sons of Uzziel, Mishael, and Elzaphan, and Zithri. And Aaron took him Ishlishabah, daughter of Aminadab, sister of Nashon, to wife, and she bare him Nabab and Abihu and Eleazar and Ithamar. And the sons of Korah, Asir and Elkanah and Abiasaph, these are the families of the Korhites. And Eleazar, Aaron's son, took him one of the daughters of Putiel to wife, and she bare him Phinehas. These are the heads of the fathers of the Levites according to their families. These are the Aaron and Moses, to whom the Lord said, bring out the children of Israel from the land of Egypt according to their armies. These are they which spake to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring out the children of Israel from Egypt. These are that Moses and Aaron. And it came to pass on the day when the Lord spake unto Moses in the land of Egypt, that the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I am the Lord. Speak thou unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, all that I say unto thee. And Moses said before the Lord, behold, I am of uncircumcised lips, and how shall Pharaoh hearken unto me? What does uncircumcised lips mean? Just meaning he's uncircumcised, so when he speaks, he's an uncircumcised guy speaking. That's what I'm thinking. Uncircumcised lips. Sounds like it's storming outside. In religious context, particularly within Judaism, the term uncircumcised lips refers to a metaphorical state of impurity or unworthiness to speak before God. Moses expresses his inadequacy to plead with Pharaoh due to his uncircumcised lips. This is interpreted as Moses' recognition that he is not pure enough to communicate directly with God's presence. So Moses is saying, I'm not good enough. In the Lord, chapter 7, and the Lord said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, lowercase g, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt. So God tells him, Pharaoh's not going to listen to you, and it's God that does this. God says, I will harden Pharaoh's heart so that I can lay my hand upon Egypt. So even if Pharaoh wanted to let them go, God says, no, I'm going to harden his heart so that I can crush Egypt. And bring forth mine, that I may lay, but Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt, and bring forth mine armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. So if this sounds like a cruel God, God's being cruel. Why would God harden Pharaoh's heart just so that he could crush Egypt? Why? Because God is the moral judge. God is the judge, jury, and executioner. God is judging them. God is saying, you know what? Egypt is a mess. So I'm going to handle that. So it doesn't matter what you really say, Moses, because I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. So even if he wanted to listen to you, he's not going to listen to you. And I'm going to crush Egypt, and I'm going to bring my people out of Egypt. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I stretch forth mine hand upon Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from among them. And Moses and Aaron did as the Lord commanded them, so did they. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83 years old when they spake unto Pharaoh. So Moses was 80, and Aaron was 83. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle for you, then shalt thou say unto Aaron, take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt. They also did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. This is why I always say that I do believe there was some more magic. I think people were closer, things were closer to God back then, and there were giants in those days, and beasts of the earth. And so the magicians were able to throw their rods on the ground and they became snakes. Now, if you watch Disney, if you watch like Prince of Egypt, they're doing like tricks and stuff. They're doing like tricks. I don't think they were doing tricks. I think that uh what we would call demons or fallen angels, like powers and principalities, these magicians actually could turn their rods to serpents too. But they weren't doing it through the power of God. They were doing it through for lack of a better word, the power of Satan. That's just my speculation. If you want to believe whoever made Prince of Egypt, Disney or Pixar, that they were doing tricks and that they had like a snake in their robe, and when they threw their rod down, they actually stuck it in their robe and threw a snake on the ground. You can believe that if you want. That's what some people interpret it as. The magicians were doing tricks. They were smoke and mirrors type stuff. I don't think so. I think they actually they threw their rods on the ground and it turned into a snake, but they were doing it through evil, lower gods. Essentially demons or Satan. They also did in like manner with their enchantments, for they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. So, picture 3 sorcerers come out. Aaron and Moses are standing there. Aaron throws his rod on the ground. It turns into a snake. The sorcerers come out of the Pharaoh, and they're worshiping Ra and Horus and whatever the heck Egyptian gods there were at the time. And they pray to these gods, and they throw their rods on the ground, and their rods become snakes too. But then Aaron's rod eats all the other snakes. And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He refuseth to let the people go. Moses is like, I know, that's what you said was going to happen, God. Go thee unto Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goeth out unto water, and thou shalt stand by the river's brink against he come. And the rod which was turned to the serpent shalt thou take in thy hand. And thou shalt say unto him, The Lord God of the Hebrews hath sent me unto thee, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hitherto thou wouldest not hear. Thus saith the Lord in this, Thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that is in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Egyptians shall loathe to drink the water of the river. This is the first plague, and then we're going to stop. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying unto Aaron, Take thy rod and stretch out thine hand upon the waters of Egypt. Excuse me. Upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. And Moses and Aaron did so as the Lord commanded, and he lifted up the rod and smote the waters that were in the river in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. And the fish that was in the river died, and the river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river, and there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened, neither did he hearken to them as the Lord had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he set his heart to this also. And all the Egyptians digged round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink the water of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled. After that, the Lord had smitten the river. So that's the first plague. We're going to finish the rest of the plagues tomorrow. I want to look up something real quick. Sorry, I haven't looked at chat in a minute. A flint knife. That's what like BibleQuestions.org said, a flint knife, but the King James version of the Bible said a stone. What verse was that? I can look it up real quick. The exact word. That was chapter 6:14, I think. Chapter 5, 6. Chapter 6. No, it was chapter 5. Sharp stone. A sharp stone. That is 4. It just says a sharp stone. Drop my highlighter. What's up, Seesaw? I love when there's a storm. Best sound. Yeah. I don't think it's raining and thundering. I think it's just heavy wind. It's been real windy lately. I want to look up one thing about the River of Blood. I believe that there's actually a modern example of this happening. It could be a myth or it could be fake news, but I feel like I've heard of this happening in more modern times. But see, if I look up river turns to blood, it's just going to tell me. Water turns blood in Sydney Harbor. Water turns blood red. Water in Japan is turning red. Well, this was the red tide. Water turns blood red in Sydney. Sydney Harbor turns blood red. This is just red tide. Rare phenomenon turns water Sydney, Australians, Bondi Beach blood red. I don't have my headphones hooked up, so I can't hear this. Hold on, let me just turn on the subtitles because I don't have headphones in, so I can't even hear what's being said in this video. But I can show it to you guys, and you guys can hear it. Probably not the same thing that I'm thinking of.
Bondi dyed red. 4 kilometres of Sydney's coastline transformed by an algal bloom.
Coastline
it's not something that's going to hurt anyone. You might come up with an irritation on the skin or eyes and things like that. So that's why we took the precaution to shut the beach down.
The quiet water.
Anyway, the reason I'm looking this up is because, so for example, in the New Testament, when Jesus goes into the Garden of Gethsemane, the Bible says that he sweats blood, that he's so, I don't want to say worried. I don't want to say worried or afraid. Nervous. Nervous is maybe a good, because he knows he's about to go through the worst hell possibly imaginable on earth. And maybe he doesn't go down to Gehenna, but he goes down to Sheol. He knows his father's going to forsake him, turn away from him. He knows it's about to be very bad. And I think nervous is a good word. He's so nervous, not worried because he knows it's going to happen and it has to happen. He's ready to face it. Oh, it is raining. But he's nervous, so he sweats blood in the Garden of Gethsemane. And this is actually a real life thing that happens. Same thing when Jesus is crucified and they stab him with the spear, water flows out. This is a real thing that happens. There's medical terms for this today. There's medical terms of people coming back to life after they die. So a lot of the things in the Bible that people are like, that could never happen, there's actually examples of it happening. Now, I don't know examples of somebody throwing their rod on the ground and it turning into a snake, but I believe there are examples of rivers turning to blood. I could be wrong, but there's definitely examples of like red tide.
The water in Japan is turning a blood red color. Residents of Nago woke up today to their lake being described as a
But I thought there was a story in Africa where the water actually turned to blood and they tested it and it was blood. Water turns to blood. Moses turns water to blood. Water turns blood red in Iran. So there's lots of examples of water turning red. River water in Sichuan suddenly turned blood red. There's red tide. It happens. There's these algae blooms that happen that will turn the water red. Water turns to blood everywhere. This is Nigeria. Second angel poured out his bowl into the sea.
Change and turn red blood in a Port Mariatonia.
Huh.
Look how it turn red
I don't know. This
blood.
is just...
And everybody come and test the water. And
third angel poured out his bowl on the rivers and springs of water, and they became blood.
I know what it is. A sign I show, you know. Scientists come test the water and no one make it so red.
Jamaica, Sichuan, Australia, Nigeria. What do you guys think of this? Science or just science like algae and red tide, or fulfillment of prophecy? Russia? I don't know. This could be nothing. This could just be, there could be a scientific explanation for this. Or this could be an example of exactly what happened in Egypt.
Rivers are running red with... No one actually knows what the rivers are running red.
The Yangtze River. This is the one I heard about.
Last week.
Yeah, this happened in China.
The Yangtze River, the longest
red,
in China,
red. The whole red ocean
runs through the city. The Chongqing Environmental Protection.
So, what do you guys think of that? Anyway, that's it. Tomorrow we got the frogs and the locusts. We'll do all the rest of the plagues tomorrow. I'm going to retitle the stream Early Life of Moses and the First Plague. And then tomorrow we'll do all the other plagues. Plague is P-L-G-U-E, right? P-L-A-G-U-E. P-L-A-G-U-E. P-L-A-G-U-E, right? Un momento. P-L-A-G-U-E. A plague is a bacterial infection caused by Yersinia pestis. What? Bubonic plague, pneumonic plague, septicemic plague. Anyway, so yeah, retitle this. We'd do Exodus 1 through 8 today. 1 through 7. 1 through 7. Early life of Moses and the first plague. And then I will set up a redirect. There's only 3 people watching. It's really not necessary, but send you over to Angry Conservative. We did Joel the other day. I don't know what Angry Conservative's watching, but thank you, Amanda. Hope you have a great day too. I'm gonna get to sleep early today. I'm tired. We'll be back tomorrow. I guess there's gonna be a verbal combat during the daytime tomorrow, which I don't know. I was thinking about doing 2 of them on Friday, but I guess he's not doing it that way now. He's going to do 1 on Thursday and 1 on Friday, so I probably can't do the one tomorrow. I need to get a haircut so bad. Look at my hair. I need to get it cut. Got to get it cut. But I will do this tomorrow. We'll get through the rest of the plagues tomorrow, and then we'll start getting into the Exodus of the Israelites from Egypt. So go say what up to Angry Conservative. God bless everybody. Have a good day. I'll see you later. We out. Peace.